Hi there, it's Matt here, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're exploring findings from what may be one of the most comprehensive studies on sleep and health in recent years. And after you hear this, you might think differently about your sleep schedule. But before we dive into what could be eye-opening for many people, let me discuss a framework that's been guiding my own understanding of sleep science and practice for some time now. For several years, I've been thinking about good sleep not as a single number, not simply 8 hours of sleep. Instead, looking at the research, there appear to be 4 key components of good sleep, or 4 macros of good sleep. Just like there are 3 macronutrients in food: fat, protein, carbohydrate, there are 4 macros of good sleep. You can remember it by the acronym QQRT, which stands for quantity, quality, regularity, and timing. Think of these as the 4 legs of a chair that supports your health. Remove any single leg, and the chair becomes unstable, potentially affecting your well-being. Quantity ensures you're getting adequate sleep for your body's needs, 7 to 9 hours for most adults. But it's about finding your personal requirements and staying consistent. The crucial part, the quantity that matters, isn't time in bed, it's actual sleep time. Many people confuse lying in bed for 8 hours with sleeping for 8 hours. That's like confusing sitting in a restaurant with actually eating a meal. Quality represents how well structured your sleep cycles are. You need adequate, deep, restorative slow wave sleep and proper REM sleep with smooth transitions between stages. Poor quality sleep with frequent interruptions prevents you from spending sufficient time in the deeper stages. It's like trying to have a meaningful conversation while someone keeps interrupting every few minutes. You never really get into the important stuff. But here's where recent research becomes particularly important: regularity. Regularity keeps your circadian system stable and functioning smoothly. Your circadian system acts like a conductor, coordinating a biological orchestra of countless cells. Every organ system, every hormone, many cellular processes work best when they can anticipate what's coming next. When you go to bed and wake up at consistent times, you're giving this conductor a reliable schedule to follow. Poor sleep regularity, meaning you are very inconsistent with when you go to bed and wake up, is like having a different conductor show up each night with completely different sheet music, while the orchestra was expecting the same conductor and music and is a complete mess trying to figure out what they're supposed to be playing. The result? Biological confusion. And as we're about to see, this confusion may be affecting your health in ways that might surprise you. Regularity encompasses the entire rhythm of your day. When you eat, when you're exposed to light, when you exercise, when your body temperature naturally rises and falls. Your liver prepares for your usual bedtime by adjusting its processes, but if you're unpredictable, it's constantly having to improvise. Your digestive system anticipates your typical meal times, but irregular schedules can disrupt these preparations. Finally, timing involves aligning your sleep with your natural chronotype, your biological preferences. There are natural early birds, night owls, and everything in between. Your chronotype is largely determined by genetics. And while you can shift it somewhat with light exposure and consistent scheduling, working dramatically against it is like writing with your non-dominant hand. Possible, but unnecessarily challenging. The power of regularity extends beyond just feeling alert. Research suggests it may influence metabolic efficiency, immune function, hormone balance, and disease prevention in ways that deserve our attention. Without all 4 dimensions working together, your sleep health may not be optimally supporting you. I want to share a study that demonstrates just how important that regularity component really is. and why overlooking it might be affecting your health more than you realize. Dr. Qing Chen's team from Army Medical University and Dr. Shengfeng Wang's team from Peking University recently completed what appears to be the most comprehensive, objective sleep and disease study conducted to date. They analyzed accelerometer data from 88,461 adults, nearly 90,000 people from the UK Biobank who had worn fitness trackers for exactly 1 week, and then followed their health outcomes for an average of 6.8 years to see what diseases developed. This represents over 600,000 hours of objective sleep data, an impressive data set for any sleep researcher. This represents a significant advance in sleep research methodology. The researchers captured extensive objective sleep data, measuring 6 different dimensions with scientific precision: sleep duration, sleep timing, sleep rhythm consistency, sleep rhythm robustness, sleep efficiency, and number of nighttime awakenings. Think of it as getting a detailed week-long snapshot of how an entire population actually sleeps. A long-standing partner of today's podcast is Element, spelled L-M-N-T. Element is a sugar-free electrolyte drink mix, and for me, it was the sugar-free part that made me start using it a while back. I buy my own supply just to stay objective, and beyond having electrolytes in the right balance, the other reason I'm a fan of Element is that it's scientific. If you look up the people who created the company, you'll find some pretty heavy-hitting physiology, biochemistry, and pharmacology expertise that's baked into the product. And again, all of that comes without any sugar. I also wanted to share that Element's newest limited time flavor, lemonade salt, is squeezing onto the scene Tuesday, May 20th. Anyway, I should note that this is a limited time flavor, so if you like the sound of lemon-flavored electrolyte goodness, grab some now. Happily, I badgered them, and they have agreed to give you fine folks a free 8-count sample pack with any purchase of Element if you use the link lmnt.com/MATTWALKER. So for free product with your purchase, just visit lmnt.com/MattWalker, and as I said, you'll get some free product. Here's an interesting finding that provides valuable insight into sleep research methodology. 22% of people who reported they were sleeping more than 8 hours nightly were actually getting 6 hours or less, according to objective measurement. That's more than 1 in 5 long sleepers who were getting significantly less sleep than they thought. This finding highlights an important limitation in sleep research that has relied on self-reported data. For decades, epidemiological studies have examined people who reported being long sleepers, often finding associations with higher disease rates, and some research has suggested that sleeping too much might be problematic. But this objective data suggests that a substantial portion of people who believe they're sleeping long hours may actually be spending more time in bed than actually sleeping. Think about what this means. Some of the research warning about the potential risks of long sleep may have inadvertently included people who are actually sleep deprived, but spending extended time in bed. It's similar to studying people's eating habits based on how long they sit at the dinner table rather than measuring what they actually consume. This doesn't invalidate previous research entirely, but it does suggest we should interpret findings about self-reported sleep duration thoughtfully. The gap between what people think about their sleep and what objective measurement shows highlights why accelerometer-based studies like this one are valuable for understanding sleep's true relationship with health. What's particularly interesting is that when the researchers separated people who both reported long sleep and actually measured long sleep objectively, many of the health concerns previously associated with long sleep were reduced or disappeared entirely. This suggests that objective measurement can help us better understand which sleep patterns are actually associated with health risks. This methodological insight is relevant for anyone trying to understand their own sleep patterns. Many of us may not be as accurate as we think when estimating our sleep, which is completely understandable. After all, we're unconscious for most of it. This is why tools that can objectively track sleep patterns can be helpful for getting a clearer picture of our actual sleep habits. Now, this finding should also make us thoughtful when we see those confident social media posts and forum debates about sleep duration. The research proves it. Well, it turns out that much of the research those claims are based on relied on self-reported sleep data, which we now know can be significantly inaccurate. The objective data suggests we should be more skeptical of both the sleep is for the weak crowd and the too much sleep is dangerous warnings that have been circulating online for years. This doesn't mean everyone should ignore their own experience, but it does suggest that when someone cites research about sleep duration and health outcomes, we might want to ask, was that based on what people said they slept or what they actually slept? Because apparently there can be a meaningful difference. When the researchers analyzed health outcomes over nearly 7 years, the results were striking. Though we need to remember this is an associational analysis and does not prove causality yet. Still, objective sleep measurements showed associations with 172 different diseases across virtually every system in the human body. Not 17, not 72, 172 different diseases. This includes conditions affecting cardiovascular, respiratory, digestive, immune, nervous, and endocrine systems. We're talking about major health conditions: heart disease, stroke, diabetes, various cancers, Parkinson's disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, kidney problems, liver issues, and depression, among many others. The scope suggests that sleep dysfunction may be connected to nearly every major health category we study. But here's where the numbers become particularly noteworthy. For 92 diseases, more than 20% of their risk appeared attributable to sleep-related factors. Let me repeat that. For 92 different diseases, more than 1/5 of all cases could potentially be preventable by optimizing sleep patterns. For some conditions, the attributable risk reached levels worth serious consideration. Up to 37% of Parkinson's disease risk appeared linked to disrupted sleep rhythms, 36% of type 2 diabetes risk connected to sleep rhythm problems, and significant portions of acute kidney failure risk tied to sleep issues. These aren't small statistical fluctuations. These are numbers that put sleep dysfunction in similar territory as smoking, obesity, and other major risk factors that public health campaigns focus on. If we discovered that a single environmental factor was responsible for 37% of Parkinson's cases, we'd certainly want to address it. Yet here we have sleep rhythm disruption showing similar associations, and most people treat it as optional. A partner and sponsor of today's podcast is Shopify. Let me share the link right away. Shopify.com/Matt Walker. As someone who spends his days researching sleep, the idea of selling merch felt, well, rather daunting. But I kept getting asked if I had t-shirts or gear. So I finally said, okay, Matt, get your act together and give it a try. And we have them coming. But the big question was, How on earth was someone like me, a scientist, going to get these items into your hands? Everyone said the same thing: use Shopify. It turns out, even me, an analog man in a digital world, was able to do it without any learning curve. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, you can build a really impressive online store that matches your brand style. Oh, and if you need artificial intelligence-powered help writing product descriptions or touching up images, Shopify's got that too. All of which is to say that if you're ready to sell, just try Shopify. So if you are interested, turn your business idea into reality with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/mattwalker. Once more, that's shopify.com/mattwalker. Here's perhaps the most paradigm-shifting finding that might make you reconsider your sleep schedule. Sleep rhythm disruption was linked to 83 diseases that had no connection to sleep duration. This means that even if you're getting your recommended 7 to 9 hours, irregular timing could still be affecting your health. Think about the implications. All those public health messages about get your 8 hours, including my own tactless comments past, might be missing part of the picture. It's like focusing on whether your car has enough gas while overlooking the importance of regular maintenance. The rhythm-related diseases include some serious conditions in medicine: chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, type 2 diabetes, chronic kidney disease, major depressive disorder, various cardiovascular conditions, multiple forms of cancer, and autoimmune disorders. Let me share some specific numbers that illustrate the scale. Irregular bedtime after 12:30 a.m. was associated with a 2.57-fold higher risk of liver cirrhosis. Going to bed inconsistently after midnight appears to substantially increase the chances of developing this serious liver condition. People with the most disrupted sleep rhythms faced more than triple the risk of age-related physical debility compared to those with robust rhythms. We're not talking about feeling a bit more tired as you age. We're talking about a threefold increase in becoming physically frail and dependent. One particularly interesting discovery involves chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This condition is one of the world's leading killers, primarily caused by smoking and air pollution. Despite decades of intensive research, sleep rhythm had never been identified as a significant risk factor. It wasn't even on the radar of most researchers. But when these scientists examined objective sleep data, they found a clear relationship between disrupted sleep rhythm and COPD risk. This discovery was significant enough that they validated it using completely independent American data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey with 8,514 participants. Same finding: sleep rhythm disruption clearly linked to COPD development. It seems logical in retrospect. Disrupted sleep affects immune function, inflammatory responses, and cellular repair mechanisms, all of which could contribute to lung disease. But because we never had good objective sleep data before, we missed it completely. It makes you wonder what other connections we might still be missing. The researchers identified inflammatory pathways that may explain these disease connections, and the mechanism is both elegant and concerning. People with disrupted sleep rhythms showed significantly elevated inflammatory markers in their blood, increased white blood cells, elevated eosinophils, and higher C-reactive protein. Chronic inflammation is like having a small fire that never quite gets extinguished. It just keeps smoldering, gradually affecting everything around it. Your immune system, designed to fight off infections and heal injuries, instead stays in a constant state of alert, potentially affecting your own tissues and organs. Think of it this way: poor sleep rhythm keeps setting off false alarms in your body's security system. Instead of responding to actual threats, your immune system starts treating your own organs as problems to solve. Your liver, kidneys, heart, and brain all become affected by this ongoing state of alert. When researchers calculated population attributable fractions, essentially how much disease could be prevented if everyone had optimal sleep, the numbers revealed a significant public health opportunity. For 92 diseases, more than 20% of cases could potentially be prevented through better sleep patterns. For some conditions, the preventable fraction reaches 50%. This represents potential millions of preventable cases of serious disease and substantial healthcare costs that could be avoided by improving our sleep schedules.
Okay, time for some honesty. I've probably eaten more protein bars in my lifetime than I've actually blinked. They've been such a constant for me throughout my life. I recently found David protein bars, and it was my friend Dr. Peter Attia who raised awareness about David. He played a key role in the development of this really quite radical new protein bar. And just hearing it from Peter, knowing his standards, that's all I needed to at least consider making the switch. And then I read about the company. They are fantastic. The bars are built on a simple, groundbreaking concept: the fewest calories for the most amount of protein, period, ever. And each bar contains a wonderful 28 grams of protein at just 150 calories. They have 0 grams of sugar as well. That is the best protein to calorie ratio that has ever been seen in a protein bar. The taste, exceptional. I almost have to ration them. They're that good, because I could probably inhale about 10 of them in one go. Protein, of course, by the way, it's critical. It's not just for building and maintaining muscles. It's for managing metabolic health, helping you feel fuller for longer. And it's that unique ratio that I think makes David protein bars, just for me at least, the most satiating that I've also ever experienced. They are fantastic. They've got 6 incredible flavors. And here's a bonus: when you buy 4 cartons, you get a 5th entirely free. If protein bars are your thing, even if they're not your thing and you're considering them, just go on over to davidprotein.com/Matt Walker. That's davidprotein.com/Matt Walker. And you will get a wonderful experience in terms of that bonus. Okay, back to the show.
One of the most significant revelations involves the supposed risks of long sleep that should reassure everyone who's ever been criticized for sleeping in. For years, studies have suggested that sleeping more than 8 or 9 hours increases risk of heart disease, stroke, and early death. This research suggests those studies may have important limitations. When the researchers separated truly long sleepers, people who both reported and objectively measured long sleep, from the misclassified group, many of those supposed health risks diminished. The risky long sleep association was largely driven by people who thought they were sleeping long, but were actually sleep deprived with underlying health problems. The study revealed interesting patterns across different groups. Women showed stronger associations between sleep rhythm disruption and certain autoimmune conditions, while men showed more pronounced cardiovascular risks, Older adults appeared particularly vulnerable to cognitive and physical frailty risks associated with poor sleep rhythm. The age-related findings are especially noteworthy. Among participants over 65, those with the most disrupted sleep rhythms had triple the risk of developing age-related physical debility. This isn't just about feeling tired, it's about maintaining independence and quality of life in later years. One of the stronger pieces of evidence supporting causation rather than mere correlation is the clear dose-response relationships found throughout this study. The worse someone's sleep rhythm, the higher their disease risk, in precise, predictable patterns that follow biological logic. Participants were divided into groups based on their sleep rhythm robustness, and those with the worst sleep rhythms had notably higher disease risks than those with better rhythms in a stepwise fashion. This pattern suggests that sleep rhythm disruption may actually be contributing to increased disease risk, not just associated with it. Based on this research, here are 7 evidence-based strategies that could positively influence your health trajectory. First, consider the 30-minute rule. Try to keep bedtime and wake time within 30 minutes daily, even on weekends. Your circadian system benefits from consistency, much like any other biological process. Second, get 20 minutes of bright light within 1 hour of waking, then use dimmer lights starting 2 hours before bed. Light is your circadian system's primary signal. Use it intentionally. Third, consider objective measurement. A fitness tracker can provide honest feedback about your actual sleep patterns. You can't improve what you can't measure accurately, and most of us aren't great at estimating our own sleep. Fourth, apply caffeine timing. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. if you sleep at 10 p.m. Caffeine's 6-hour half-life makes afternoon coffee a potential sleep rhythm disruptor. Fifth, create a temperature gradient. Keep your bedroom at 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit and consider a warm bath 90 minutes before bed. The cooling effect supports natural circadian temperature drops. Sixth, establish an anchor routine. Pick one consistent sleep ritual at the same time daily. This becomes your circadian reference point when life gets busy. It could be as simple as dimming the lights or changing clothes. Consistency matters more than complexity. Seventh, practice weekend moderation. Try to limit sleep schedule changes to maximum 1 hour on weekends. Your circadian system doesn't recognize calendars. Treat it like the health factor it appears to be. This research is quite remarkable. While these are observational associations that need further research to establish causation, we're looking at potentially preventing 37% of Parkinson's cases, 36% of diabetes cases, and significant portions of 90 other diseases through consistent sleep rhythms. The regularity component of sleep health isn't just one of 4 equal supports. The evidence suggests it might be foundational to the others. Your sleep schedule might be one of the most important health decisions you make every day, and you're making it whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you making it thoughtfully, or are you letting it happen by default? And with that thought, I'll say goodnight, keep it reasonably regular, and I'll see you in the next episode.